All right, everybody. So today we're going to talk about how to use Illustrator to create a self-portrait, and it's going to look like an avatar, which is pretty cool. You can use it as your profile pic and stuff. So let's just jump right in. I will share my screen. Okay, so this is where we're headed. Here you can see my original photograph that, of course, I took in my car, and then you can see the end result here, which I posted last night. So how did I get here? Well, first, let's go ahead and start a new document. We're going to go ahead and make this letter sized. So go ahead and title it Self-Portrait. I'm going to call mine 2 because this is the second one I've done. We're going to make it letter sized, and because of the original orientation of my photograph, I'm going to do landscape orientation. You can choose to do portrait orientation if that makes more sense with your self-portrait. So go ahead and say okay to that. And the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to kind of set up our workspace. We're going to place the original photograph, and then we're going to work on getting a little bit of a color palette going on. So you're going to go to File, Place, find your self-portrait photograph or the photograph that you had someone take of you, and go ahead and place. And remember, it's this little tiny thumbnail situation. I already reduced the size in Photoshop, so I didn't have to scale it down. So you may find when you place it that it's pretty big. Just remember to hold the Shift key if you're going to scale from the corner. And I'm actually going to work on this outside of my artboard. So I'm going to move my photograph over, and I'm going to make a second copy of the photograph just because I found that as I was doing this, it was nice to have it was nice to have 2 photographs to work from. You'll see why. So I'm going to copy that. So edit, copy, and edit, paste. And I'm just going to move this one right next to the first one. Yeah, that's lined up. Okay, cool. So the next thing that you're going to want to do is you're going to want to set up a little bit of a color palette. You can put this into your swatches like we did for the patch or the pattern, but you don't have to. And in fact, I'm not going to for this one. I'm going to set up myself a set of color samples that I can use the eyedropper with quickly and easily. I'm going to do that by just making a series of circles. And so remember, you can make a circle under your shape tool with the ellipse tool. And if you hold the Shift key down, you're going to get a perfect circle. So I'm just going to start with a perfect circle. And I'm going to make 3 different sort of sets of color. The first set is going to be my skin tones. So with that shape still selected, I'm going to come down here to the eyedropper tool, and I'm going to select, I'm going to like suck up some color from my forehead. This way, as I'm working, I'm using colors that are fairly accurate to my skin tone. My skin tone is very rosy, I found out as I was doing this. Now, if you look at this photograph, there's a lot of different colors of that fleshy tone. And so I'm gonna, just to be safe, I'm gonna pull up 4, I'm gonna make 4 of these little circles. So I'm gonna copy and paste this. And I'm just gonna plop it over here. And again, I'm gonna use the eyedropper tool, and I'm gonna take a selection from a different part of my skin. Well, that seems really dark. Yeah, that's better. And I'm gonna do the same thing, copy and paste. And this is just giving me, again, a selection of skin tones to work from as I am drawing my self-portrait. So maybe one, see what that's like. You know, you want them to be different, right? So you've got choices. And we'll do one more. Maybe down from here. Okay. Now, for aesthetic reasons, you may want to put these in, I don't know, order from darkest to lightest. You don't have to. That's up to you. So then I'm also going to do one, I'm going to do a little set of these for my hair. So I'll just take that circle, copy and paste it. And I'm going to take that color, it's kind of green. That's pretty light. There we go, that's good. Then I'll do another one for the darker part of my hair. Because remember, what we're doing in Illustrator always is creating shape out of form. So I'm going to be, or creating form out of shape, I'm sorry. So I'm going to be using these colors to create shapes that are going to ultimately describe the form of, for, you know, in this example right now, my hair. I'll get one more, I'll get a dark. There we go, that's good, okay. And I'm gonna grab one, I'm gonna get one more color. Two more colors for my lips, I think. Good. Good. And I think that's a good set of colors. You could take this further. You could get your eye color and stuff like that too if you wanted, but this will get me going. And if for some reason I feel like I need to make another one, I always can, right? You can also, for your own aesthetic reasons, if you want to, you can select all of those circles, and up here, if you want to make them nice and evenly spaced, you can work with the spacing options up here. Again, not required, just, you know, whatever your preferred working environment is. So now we're all set to begin basically tracing the portrait. You know, you're not going to do an automatic image trace like we did in some of our previous projects. You're going to do this manually, and that's going to provide a more, it'll give you more practice with the pen tool and the curvature tool, but also allows you more control over your outcome. Now, something that we haven't worked with yet is layers. So we're going to work with layers in this exercise or this project because it helps with the process. You could ostensibly do this all in one layer, but for organization and sort of quick and easier work, we're going to work with layers. So your layers palette is over on the right. And, you know, or if you can't find it there, you can always go to window and layers. All right, so right now I just have one layer, and that is these two photographs, and my little color palettes are also in that layer. I'm going to make a new layer now, and I'm going to title this layer skin, because we're going to start with the skin of the face, okay? And making sure I've got that layer selected. I'm going to come over here to the curvature tool, which we've used before, and I'm going to start plotting points around the skin of my face. And it is already this fleshy tone, right? Because that was the last color that I had selected. But if if the last thing that you were working with was, I don't know, getting your hair color, you might find that this is being filled in with that color. And remember, you can always quickly and easily change the color of any shape that you draw by highlighting it with the selection tool and then changing the color. I'm probably plotting more points than I needed to there. And remember that you need to close that shape by coming back to the very first dot that you put down, the very first anchor point. Now, if you want to double check the accuracy of the shape that you just drew, with it still highlighted, up here, you can actually lower the opacity so that you can see through it to your original face. And you can kind of look and see that all of your anchor points are accurate to the edge of your face. And if they're not, with the curvature tool chosen, you can come in here and click and move any of those anchor points as you need. You can also slide them around too. So really, work on getting the shapes that you're drawing to be accurate using that curvature tool, and then editing if needed to move those anchor points around and really create an accurate shape. So having done that, I'm going to go ahead and bring the opacity back up. And now this is where having the two photographs is helpful. The next thing that I did as I was working on this, and you can work on this in any order that you want to, but the next thing that I did was I worked on my glasses, because I felt like that was something that would really help define my face over here. So right now this is looking super creepy, but we'll get there. So I'm going to come over here to my second photograph in order to trace out these glasses. And again, I'm going to make a new layer, and this will be my glasses layer. And I'm going to go ahead and zoom in on this so that I can see it a little bit better. And yeah, that's good. Again, I'm going to use the curvature tool, and I'm going to, my glasses are, well, they're different glasses than I'm wearing right now, because these ones, the lens popped out of, but they've got these two different lines, which of course is just going to make my life harder, but it's totally doable. So I'm going to end up tracing around the glasses kind of twice. So again, using the curvature tool and plotting these points, following the curve of my glasses, and I'm doing the dark part first. Notice how I skipped this little bit. I'm going to come back in later and draw a rectangle to do that. Otherwise, it just looks a little bit, I don't know, not as finessed. But also, see how it's like filling in with that fleshy color. Again, super creepy, but I'm going to change that later. So again, here, like, it's not perfect, so I'm gonna make some small adjustments to really accurately line up with the glasses. Now, I'm going to, the reason it's all fleshy colored is because I have a fill color but no stroke, right? So I'm going to switch that up. I'm going to get rid of the fill color, and I'm going to choose a stroke color. I want to use the eyedropper because I want to get this exact color. I could just go in here and choose something similar. So Oh, okay, maybe I'll just do that. I'll use this blue color. And I might want to up the stroke so that it's a little bit easier to see. In my end result, so there you can see that blue, my blue glasses there. Because these glasses are kind of delicate, ultimately I'll probably bring that back down to a 1-point stroke. But now I'm just going to repeat that over here on the other side. Oops. Just realized that I am not in my glasses layer, so I'm going to do that. You know, and if you accidentally draw something in the wrong layer, you can always just copy and paste it or cut and paste it into the proper layer. All right, looking pretty good. And then I'm going to do the gold part of my glasses. So I'm just going to, yeah, I'll just go ahead and do that right away. Again, making sure I'm in my glasses layer. And I'm going to change the color of that after I finish tracing it. Now here's something important. As I come around to the side of my glasses here, the shape of the glasses become a little bit more angular. And so what I'm going to want to do is, in order to prevent the line from being curvy as I come around here, I'm going to hold the Alt key or the Option key as I come to this point, because that's going to create a straight line. And the same for when I close the shape. That way this line is nice and straight. I may want to, mess with this just a little bit more, but it's pretty good. And then I'm going to repeat over here. Again, I'm going to hold the Alt key down as I come to this more angular spot, and again as I close the shape. So I'm going to use my selection tool, and I'm going to choose both of the golden lines. Well, they're not golden yet, but they will be. And I'll come up here to my stroke and choose something that is somewhat, well, that's more than golden, but if I wanted to be more specific in my color choice, I could double click on the stroke down here in the color picker, and I could choose something that is a little bit less neon. Yeah, that's better. And again, I'm going to bring the points, the stroke points down to 1. Now from here, I'm going to go ahead and also select the blue part of my glasses by holding the Shift key, so that I've got all 4 of these shapes chosen. And I'm going to go ahead and group them so that when I move them, they'll move together and they stay in the same location. And now I'm going to zoom out. And I'm going to move my glasses over here onto my face. Now, I still have some glasses sticking out from the skin shape that I drew to line it up. But if you do not have a key point there to help you line it up, again, you can come out here to your skin shape, and you can lower the opacity so that you can see through it, and you can use the photograph that's behind what you've started drawing to help you line up your glasses or jewelry or whatever it is that your accessories, your face accessories. So that looks pretty well lined up, and I'll click on that face shape, bring the opacity back up, and zoom out. And we're starting to get somewhere. It's looking, I mean, it's still creepy, but it's looking closer. So your whole project really is going to be a lot about using that curvature tool and drawing shapes around the shapes on your photograph. So let's come in here next and let's work on, let's maybe get the eyebrows. So again, I'm going to zoom in. And again, in my layers palette, I'm going to create another layer. And actually, I want this layer to be below the glasses because my eyebrows are behind my glasses here. So I want that to appear realistic. So I'm going to make a new layer, and this is going to be my eyebrows layer. And, like I said, we're really, just going to plot these points, tracing that eyebrow shape. You could, if you wanted to make your eyebrows more stylized, you could. You can also, really just follow their true angle. And I've really just done a terrible job here, but remember, I can always come in and using my curvature tool, I can adjust those anchor points. I can add more anchor points. I can make my eyebrows bigger and bushier. It's funny working on a self-portrait. Excuse me. And now I'll do the same thing over here. Boop. And again, I'm going to select both of them. These are not the best eyebrows in the world, but you're going to have, spend time on this. Make it look like something you're proud of, right? I'm going to change the color. Actually, I'm going to zoom out and I'm going to move these over. I'm just going to get them in the approximate place. And here's where these little color palettes come in handy. So I'm going to use, with those two selected, I'm going to use the eyedropper tool, and I'm going to choose one of the hair color samples to become my eyebrow color. And I realized that I forgot to group these, so make sure that you do group those so that they stay in the correct, relationship to each other. So go ahead and group so that when I move one, the other one moves. And then as far as positioning goes, again, now I don't have that little bit sticking out of my skin shape. So I'm going to lower the opacity so that I can accurately place my eyebrows. Looks pretty good. And again, then bring that opacity back up. Okay, I'm gonna pause the video right now because I've realized that shorter videos are better so that you can go back in and watch segments of it, and it's just easier. And also just so that in case I mess up at some point, I don't have to re-record you know, a whole hour worth of video. So we're going to pause here. And then when we return, we'll work on the eyes, the nose, the mouth, and take it from there. Okay. Now, remember to save your work and save it often. I was working on this for several hours yesterday with that, and I forgot to save, and I should know better by now. And the program quit unexpectedly, and I lost my work. So make sure that you save and save often. I would even recommend saving after you do each individual feature. That way you've got kind of a point at which you should be saving. So as I move into the next video, I'll remember to do that. So I'm just going to go to File, and I'm going to do Save As for this first save, just because it's the first time I've saved it. So yeah, Portrait 2 into my self-portrait folder. And because we're still working on it, you want it to be an Adobe Illustrator file. And okay. And now I'm going to pause my recording and start recording again in a few minutes. All right, see you in a little bit.